It's not like a special form of Apple Pay, Apple dollars. Why they don't just say this is real money while you're paying, I don't know. Because I thought that I had accumulated a bunch of Apple dollars to use for Apple Pay by, spending so much time on my phone.
I'm swimming in $1 million of debt at 21 years old. Yet I sleep like your mom in 1983, like a baby.
Just don't pay your loans back. You don't owe anybody anything anyway. You see, the money that you've taken out as a loan is yours. You created it.
Today, we're going to take a look at 20 people who are financially illiterate, starting with someone who thought Apple Pay wasn't real money.
When you use Apple Pay, that's real money. That's true American dollars from your credit card. If you have your credit card connected, that's where the money is being sourced from. It's not like a special form of Apple Pay, Apple dollars. Why they don't just say this is real money while you're paying, I don't know. Because I thought that I had accumulated a bunch of Apple dollars to use for Apple Pay by, spending so much time on my phone, giving my data very freely and willingly to any place that asks. Like whatever they say, are cookies okay? I say yes, 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 because I thought that's how I was getting prizes, getting rewards, getting Apple dollars. So I didn't think that was real money till I checked my credit card bill. I've been spending money like I'm a friggin' millionaire. I got hair mousse. I have straight hair. My hair doesn't even hold mousse. I call Apple to straighten things out. I look at it as a please pick with Mr. Steve Jobs. They go, he's no longer with us.
She thought accepting cookies on websites was earning her Apple dollars, like the phone was paying her in loyalty points for her personal data, and Apple Pay was just cashing them in. And look, I know this clip is played up for comedy, but from the amount of buy now, pay later confusion we've seen on this channel, I wouldn't doubt there are people out there who legitimately think tap to pay is some separate currency. For the record, Apple Pay is just your card with fewer steps. Every tap is real money. And asking to speak with Steve Jobs was the cherry on top.
You can spend $120,000 in a year, you dumb. Making $30,000.
A lot of this stuff are one-time purchases that are not going to be made in subsequent years.
And you need them to survive. She did not have a job since the middle of last year, and you guys chose to live on $120,000. Even if they're one-time purchases, I don't give a You chose that.
We are here to try and fix.
So why the do you think it is okay to spend $120,000 in a year making 20 to 30?
Never said it was okay. Why did we do it? We were fiscally irresponsible.
That is not an answer. Why did you choose to do it?
I don't necessarily have a great answer for it. I spend money on dumb shit.
There we go.
Well, that's what I need to work on is my fiscal discipline.
$120,000 spent in a year on a $30,000 income. That's 4 times what came in, and the entire defense is that they were one-time purchases. Here's the problem with the one-time purchase excuse. There's always a one-time purchase. This year, it's the furniture, next year, it's the car repair, the year after, it's the medical bill. That's why a budget has a category for irregular expenses in the first place. If your survival spending is 400% of your income, that's not survival, that's a lifestyle wearing a survival costume. And I don't necessarily have a great answer for it might be the most honest sentence in this whole video.
Guys, you make $200,000 a year, and you're telling me you can't get groceries?
We have spent so long living above our means that
above $200 a year?
We went and bought clothes.
She said, I'm going to go to Target. I'm going to get a couple of clothes for the kids. And then without any further conversation, it was, I'm buying their full wardrobes for the next 4 to 6 months.
6 shirts for my 6-year-old, 4 pairs of pants, 2 dresses, and a pair of shoes.
Damn, why'd you gotta get so much in one go?
What do you mean? There's 7 days in a week.
$200,000 a year and they can't afford groceries. We've gone over this before. A recent study found nearly half of Americans making $150,000 to $200,000 are living paycheck to paycheck. And this is exactly how it happens. It's never one giant purchase. It's a couple of clothes that quietly becomes a full 6-month wardrobe times every category of spending times 12 months. Your habits form around your income. Give bad habits $200,000 and they'll spend $210,000. There's 7 days in a week is an all-time justification though. Can't argue with the calendar.
What has been your biggest financial mistake to date?
Racking up the student loan line of credit.
How much did you rack up? So I went to law school, and as soon as you get in, you get pre-approved for 150,000. I spent it all.
And how far into the process are you of paying it back?
I paid back about a third of it now, so I'm under 100. The amount that I spent on school, absolutely. The problem is there's no checks on what you do with it. And so I had too much fun with it. I bought a car. I went to Europe for a summer. And that was the mistake, was using a line of credit for that.
What advice would you give to others who may already be in the same boat as you?
It's not free money.
So the law school itself, she says, was worth it. The problem is they hand you a $150,000 line of credit the moment you get accepted, and nobody checks what you spend it on. So the tuition money became a car and a summer in Europe. And here's the part that stings. Student debt is one of the stickiest debts that exists. Even bankruptcy usually can't touch it. So that European summer is going to be on the payment schedule for years with interest. At least she landed the lawyer job. A lot of people rack up the loan and never finish the degree.
I won $100,000 after winning America's Next Top Model in 2017, and here is the story of my biggest financial mistake of my life. So after I won the show, they actually gave me a check for $100,000. Boom, baby, I'm rich. And for some reason, my little itty-bitty undeveloped brain thought that meant it was $100,000 post-tax. Like, they obviously already took out the game show tax because I got a check for $100,000. Newsflash, not the case. So anyways, I go and spend the $100,000. What I should have done was put aside 35 to 40% of the money for taxes so that I'd be ready to pay that. But I didn't do that. I spent it all. And so I spent the next several years paying back the money in taxes to the IRS.
Game show winnings are taxed as regular income, and nobody hands the winners a pamphlet on the way out. She spent the full $100,000 and then spent years paying the ears back out of pocket. And this applies to way more than game shows. Prize money, gambling wins, freelance income, side hustles, crypto gains. If nobody withheld taxes before the money hit your account, a chunk of it was never yours. Her 35 to 40% rule is genuinely the right advice. And the free car thing is real too. Win a car on TV and you owe income tax on its full value. Congratulations. Here's your bill.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but you are not defined by your financial mistakes. When I was 30 years old, I bought a used car at a 17% interest rate. Now, I was at a very different place in my life back then. I needed a car desperately. I had a lot of debt and really bad credit. That car cost about $26,000. I think when everything was said and done, I paid about $40,000 for that car on a 6-year loan. Eventually, I got my financial ish together, and last year I bought a BMW at a 2.99% interest rate, and I put $20,000 down. So I share all of that to say that your financial mistakes that you made early in life when you were just trying to survive do not define you.
$40,000 paid for a $26,000 used car. That's $14,000 in pure interest, more than half the price of the car again, just for financing it at 17% over 6 years. That's what bad credit actually costs you in dollars. But credit where it's due, this is what the turnaround looks like. Fix the credit, save the down payment, and the same person qualifies at 2.99%. Same buyer, same banks, completely different price for money. Your interest rate is basically a report card the lenders wrote about you, and unlike most report cards, this one you can actually rewrite.
I forgot to say, but on March 12th, I paid $5,000 off my credit card, and I'm extremely proud of myself. So let's pay off some more. I'm paying $50 off the balance, so let's get this paid right now. Payment details, payment submitted. Let's go.
Okay, I actually can't be too mad at this one. $5,000 paid off and then a triumphant $50 payment on camera. Let's go. It's funny, but honestly, he's doing more than most people in this video. Any payment above the minimum goes toward the principal, and momentum matters more than size when you're digging out. The only note I'd add, make sure that $50 is actually hitting the principal and check what the monthly interest charge is, because if the interest is more than $50, that let's go is going in reverse.
I'm never carrying a credit card balance ever again in my life, because what do you mean I just got charged $143 of interest on my Chase credit card? That's the one I'm targeting right now, trying to pay it off within 3 months. The balance on it was $5,880 after last week's payment. I go in to check the balance today and it is now back up to $6,000. Took me getting into $30,000 of credit card debt to realize that this was definitely not the right move in life. And I feel like as long as there's a lesson learned, it is okay to make mistakes and just do better moving forward.
She made a payment and the balance went up anyway. That's the moment credit card interest stops being a number on a statement and becomes real. $143 a month on a $6,000 balance is over $1,700 a year just for the privilege of owing money, and that's at a pretty standard rate these days. This is why the minimum payment trap works. The interest quietly refills what your payment removed. To her credit, she's attacking one card in 3 months, which is exactly the right play. Pick a target, kill it, move to the next. No words in this one, and honestly, none needed. That's just somebody opening their financial history and seeing all of it at once. And I bet a lot of you watching have had some version of this moment, maybe with less crying, maybe not. Here's the uncomfortable stat behind it. The latest PFIN index found American adults could only answer 47% of basic personal finance questions correctly, the lowest score in the survey's 10-year history, and Gen Z averaged just 38%. So half the country is failing the money test, and then we act surprised at everything else in this video. Like I always say, hopefully these videos help with that. A scared, straight lesson instead of a whiteboard lecture.
I make good money, and I'm still drowning. Let's be honest for a second. I'm a nurse. My husband works in the oil field. On paper, we should be fine. But the truth, we're in debt. I'm exhausted. And I was quietly panicking about how the hell I would make it to retirement without losing my mind. Here's the part I'm afraid to say out loud. I don't want to be a nurse anymore. Not because I'm lazy, but because this life is costing me my peace and my presence with my girls.
Now, I'm not going to dunk on this one, because a nurse and an oil field worker are two people genuinely working hard, and two good incomes with nothing to show for it is one of the most common stories in this comment section. Clearly, with this cost of living climate, a lot of people are legitimately struggling. But I do want to point out the ending. If this hits stay, we're building something different. That's a recruitment funnel. When a video about drowning in debt ends with an invitation to join something, the something usually costs money. Be very careful when your financial low point becomes somebody else's lead generation.
So I've been dealing with a gambling addiction for the past 24 years. My question is, have you guys ever worked all week, maybe 2 weeks, worked that full 40 hours a week, 8 hours on that paycheck, Friday rolled around, you went to the casino, maybe by yourself, maybe with a couple homies, and you lost it all. You lost the whole enchilada. You lost your whole damn check. Lost more than the paycheck. I've lost 10 grand in a night a bunch of times. Let me tell you, man, it does not feel good. That ride home, terrible. Depression the next day, even worse. So if you guys are out there dealing with a gambling problem like me, I'm sorry, man, but gambling is evil. Gambling just destroys things and it messes you up. So what happens next after you lose all that money? You're at work for free. Maybe for the next month, maybe for the next 2 months. Recovering that money. Stay away from the casino.
You're out working for free. That's the sharpest description of gambling losses I've heard. Lose 2 weeks of pay on a Friday night, and every shift you work for the next month is just refilling a hole. And with sports betting apps now living on everyone's phone, the casino isn't even a drive away anymore, it's in your pocket at 2 a.m. 24 years is a long time to fight this. And him saying it out loud is worth more than any stat I could put up. If gambling has its hooks in you, help exists, and the first step is exactly what he just did. Admit it.
I had a net worth north of the 7-figure mark probably a month ago. Made some poor decisions, led to a significant downturn in my net worth.
So you had like $1 million?
Yeah, I'd probably around 1.9 million.
1.9 million. Okay. And what'd you do that screwed it up?
Gambling, lifestyle inflation, partying, doing the whole 9 yards.
So what did you buy?
Going out, traveling, clubbing, bottles, cars, Airbnbs. It was poor decisions, and then a lot of gambling.
How old are you, honey?
I'm 20. When I was flying, I was spending like $100K at the club. I'd fly back. Then I'd go gamble like $500,000. At a point, I was playing like multiple six-figure hands.
$1.9 million at 20 years old, made from marketing and crypto, gone in a blur of clubs, cars, and six-figure hands at the casino. And here's the math that should haunt him. $1. $9 million parked in a boring high-yield account throws off roughly $70,000 a year in interest. He could have never worked again at 20. Instead, the money came fast, so it felt fake, and money that feels fake gets spent like it's fake. That's the pattern with crypto windfalls, lottery winners, young athletes, all of it. Easy come is the most expensive way money can arrive. At least he's in therapy for the gambling now. That part's real progress.
I lost over $30,000 in stocks about 4 years ago. I invested $40,000 of my hard-earned money into penny stocks and lost most of it because the company ended up committing fraud. In this screenshot, it says it's unrealized gains, but if you look at the current stock price right now, it's actually 2.6 cents. At the time of my investment, I was blinded by greed and convinced my stocks would double. I ended up selling my stocks at a 90% loss. I'm sharing this story to let people know that there is no such thing as get rich quick. Don't trust people when they say they can double your money or the investment is guaranteed to succeed. Always do your own research and be patient.
$40,000 of hard-earned money into penny stocks, and the company turned out to be committing fraud. And that's the thing about penny stocks nobody tells you. The reason they're cheap is the reason they're dangerous. Barely any reporting requirements, barely any liquidity, and they're the favorite playground for pump and dump schemes. Anyone promising to double your money or calling an investment guaranteed is describing something that does not exist in legitimate finance. Guaranteed and double don't live in the same sentence. His conclusion is dead right, though. There is no get rich quick. There's only get rich slow and get poor quick.
I'm swimming in $1 million of debt at 21 years old. Yet I sleep like your mom in 1983, like a baby. Even though on paper I have a negative net worth right now, I'm holding on to this massive asset that's constantly going up in value. Even though I only bought this house 2 months ago, Zillow says that it already went up in value by $10,000. The reality is spending money on a house is the fastest way to double or even triple your money. So even though it looks like I'm going deeper and deeper in debt, I'm betting my life savings that it works out. Follow to see if I go bankrupt.
Spending money on a house is the fastest way to double or even triple your money. No, it is not. Ask anybody who bought in 2007. $1 million of debt at 21 with the entire thesis resting on a Zillow estimate, which, by the way, is an algorithm's guess, not an offer. And renovations don't stack dollar for dollar onto a home's value. A lot of them return 50 to 70 cents on the dollar at best. Real estate can absolutely build wealth, but leverage cuts both ways, and at this level, one bad year in the market or one vacancy is the whole game. Follow to see if I go bankrupt is at least honest marketing.
Hi, I'm Emily. We filed bankruptcy 6 years ago, and we're in debt again. Yeah, the number's pretty crazy. $93,154 worth of debt. $41,000 of it is cars. The rest is loans and credit cards. So we've been sitting at around $93,000 for a long time. But the number's not going any higher, so that's great. The minimum payments every month are like $3,900, and the interest, just the interest on those payments is like $1,800. Bankruptcy is a great option if you learn your lesson, and we didn't, so here's to getting out of it.
$3,900 a month in minimum payments, and $1,800 of that is pure interest. Almost half of every payment they make just evaporates before touching the actual debt. That's $21,600 a year handed to lenders for nothing, and she said the quiet part out loud. Bankruptcy is a great option if you learn your lesson, and we didn't. That's it. That's the whole reason people boomerang back into debt after a clean slate. Bankruptcy resets the balance sheet, but the spending habits walk right out of the courtroom with you. The numbers not going any higher is a start, I guess, but treading water at $93,000 is still $93,000 deep.
I'm $723,000 in debt. I closed my party bus business and sold these buses months ago. The money is supposed to be coming next week, but it's always coming next week. Well, I've been waiting for this cash. My credit has gotten bad enough. The business I was going to open has just become impossible. June $550 a month, and I'm behind on it, of course. Credit cards are canceling my credit lines, not because I stopped paying, but because the massive debt load itself is triggering the closure. So any accounts that I would use to manage my cash flow are disappearing while I'm trying to solve the larger problem. Of course, banks are calling me every day. I tell them I'm working on my issues, but they don't believe me anymore.
$723,000 in debt, and the plan is money from selling the buses that's always coming next week. That phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting. And notice the detail most people miss. His credit cards are being closed not for missed payments, but because the sheer size of his debt load is triggering the banks to cut him off. Lenders watch your total exposure, and when it gets scary enough, they pull the ladder up while you're still on it. Business debt is a different animal than consumer debt, and this is the part the entrepreneur hustle content never shows. The buses are gone, the debt stayed.
Borrowed another $16,000 from family and used it on AI? Why would they give you that money?
Because they believed in me.
How much has AI made you since you've dove into it?
Honestly, it hasn't made me anything, but it's made me more knowledgeable though, you know what I mean? Like, I don't need employees, I could just do it myself. I have a couple iOS apps I'm making.
None of these apps are good. The app for people to meet at the gym, I don't think that's a thing.
I'll prove it to you.
I hope you don't. I hope you go and you make some. I hope that you get a really nice job.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
I want you to be making so much money, but you are the most delusional person I've ever met.
Borrowed $16,000 from family, spent it on AI, and it's made him exactly $0. But he's more knowledgeable now. That's a very expensive YouTube tutorial. And this is the new version of the course seller trap we've covered before. The gurus have moved from dropshipping to crypto to AI, and the pitch is always the same. Borrow money you don't have, buy the dream, the tools will print money. Meanwhile, the family that believed in him is out $16,000, and that's the part that gets me. Losing your own money is a mistake. Losing borrowed family money is a mistake with a seat at every Thanksgiving for the next decade.
When I got laid off, I stopped paying my credit card debt. I said, if you want to get your money, sue me. Well, there's a company suing me right now, but they probably bought the debt in batch. And I don't have anything for them to garnish, and I understand that they can lien my house, so I don't want to pay this right now. I don't have time for it. So if all we're going to do is kick the can down a little bit, I would prefer to just do that. And if
Sue me, she said, and then they did. Now, to be fair, making a debt collector validate the debt is a real legal right. And debt bought in batches sometimes can't be properly documented, so responding to a summons is always smarter than ignoring it. Her own lawyer told her that. But hear what she's actually choosing. She knows they can put a lien on her house, and the plan is still kick the can. A judgment doesn't expire when the holidays end. It sits there collecting interest, and the moment there's a paycheck to garnish or a house to sell, it's waiting. Cans kicked down the road have a way of rolling back.
Don't pay back your credit card. Who cares, man? Who gonna stop you? If the government can be in debt, so can I. So can you. Open up 10 credit cards, 50 credit cards, run them up. Keep it going, No one's gonna stop us.
If the government can be in debt, so can I. Okay, so, small difference. The government issues the currency, borrows at the lowest rates on earth, and has a couple 100 million taxpayers behind it. You have a visa at 25% and a job. Not quite the same balance sheet. And somebody absolutely will stop you. The card issuers will close every account the moment the missed payments start, your credit score falls off a cliff. Then come the collectors, the lawsuits, and the garnishments we literally just watched happen in the last clip. Run them up, keep it going, is advice with an expiration date, and the date is printed on your statement.
Just don't pay your loans back. You don't owe anybody anything anyway. You see, the money that you've taken out as a loan is yours. You created it. If people understood exactly how money works, you'd understand that you don't owe anybody any money. Like, when you take out a loan from the bank, where does that money come from? You see, we're sold this idea that when you take a loan out from the bank is somehow giving you something that they already own, and therefore you have to give it them back. But the thing is, when you take out a loan, that money didn't exist until you signed that piece of paper and gave the order to the bank to create that money. You created the money. Your signature created the money. You are the backing for the loan. And when you understand that you don't owe the bank anything because it didn't exist until you created it, why do you have to pay it back?
And we're ending on the most confidently wrong clip of the entire video. Your signature created the money, therefore you owe nothing. So here's the trick with this one. It starts with a grain of truth. Banks genuinely do create most new money when they issue loans. That's real, boring, textbook economics. But the conclusion is pure sovereign citizen fan fiction. How the money came into existence has nothing to do with the contract you signed to repay it. Courts have laughed this argument out of the room for decades. Nothing's going to happen, he says. Something happens every single time. Default, collections, judgments, and a credit file that follows you for 7 years. The bank read the contract, he didn't. And that's all that I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys.